He's been giving his attention, he's been giving insights and opinions about sexual addiction and intimacy disorders on everything from Oprah Winfrey to Larry King Live, and has been interviewed by numerous publications such as Time, Newsweek, and the New York Times. Finally, I'd like to welcome Dan Uliel. Dan is an internet security expert who's the founder and president of Remote WebGuard. This is a web-based self-help service that assists people suffering from online addictions, such as sex, gambling, and shopping. An Australian native now living in Los Angeles, Uliel's career has spanned from technology-based careers in information technology and consultancy to acting roles in film and television. So I'd like to thank all of our panelists for being here this morning. Before we get started, I just wanted to remind the panel that we do have some rules for today's meeting. I may be directing questions to specific panelists, and they would have up to 2 minutes to answer those questions, and then the rest of you are free to comment afterwards with up to 1 minute for the response. Following some of the questions, there'll be open questions to all the panel. And after the initial period, there'll be a Q&A period with questions off of Twitter, and that those will be directed to specific panelists. For those of you who may be tweeting during today's event, you can find us with the hashtag VirtualSx, VirtualSx. Okay. And you thought the questions would never start. Okay. This question is for Val. How do you feel technology has changed our attitudes about sex, intimacy, and relationships?
I think it's really interesting. Technology is such an amazing thing. It's enabled, I think, people who are dating or in relationships or just looking for love to really communicate very freely, very quickly, and it's making people very accessible. So I think that's a really good thing, especially in today's very busy society, to be able to kind of find people and meet people online. I think that's really great. But one of the things I think you asked about the attitude, I think a lot of times people are now using technology to kind of replace, personal relationships or that personal engagement and the intimacy that was once in those, relationships that people have had. So I think it's kind of a shift that it's replacing. So we, on 3-Day Roll, we want to get people offline because we think that there's almost too much of an emphasis of online communication in relationships and dating. So it's been kind of an interesting shift, and one that, I don't think that a text message could ever really replace, somebody saying, hi or I love you or whatever to communicate, actually in person. So it's really interesting what's happening.
How did the other panelists see this? I mean, do you feel like the culture is being shifted by how much time people spend online trying to connect with other people?
I love what she does. I think it's so important to get offline. I think that, especially, look, I'm the founder of badonlinedates.com, right? It's like I have a business model built around people behaving badly or using the computer to hide behind, not telling you. So the quicker you can get offline, I think I'm still under the belief that meeting in person can be a lot more valuable. I think that the technology is great, but it's been a little bit abused on a lot of levels.
Sure.
I certainly can get to people now, and I started to date a lot since being on MySpace and Facebook, but I'm very big and bad behind the computer. I'll be very direct with you, and I'll talk about my emotions, but in person, I stutter and stammer and flush. And so it's a love-hate relationship. I love the computer because I can sit there and I can watch TV and I can eat my TV dinner, and then I'm very emotionally out there. But when we meet in person, I shake. So it's like I've got to meet and have deeper relationships in person. I got to get from out of the internet because I just I'm a different person. I'm like a Leo when in person I'm a Pisces.
And you seem so sweet. Okay. Well, let me go to the next question. This is for Nina Hartley. Nina, do you believe that things like online porn, which are easily accessed by children and young adults, have negative implications on their view of sexuality and relationships?
I think the access to explicit sexuality online is a really, really mixed bag. You used to be able to get misinformation from your friends right at school, and misinformation from the nuns, and misinformation from all kinds of adults about sex and sexuality. The mixed bag is you might see things online that you just have no idea what they are. I mean, does a third grader really need to know about anal fisting? Probably not. But for a queer person, a young queer person in a small town, knowing that there are other people like you out there, it can be a lifesaver. The It Gets Better campaign is a wonderful thing. So I think the jury is still out. I want to say, I'm not a parent, I will say that, but the hysteria over inappropriate sexualization of children have always been inappropriately sexualized by the culture and by adults. That goes back as far as, biblical times when you could sell your 9-year-old daughter to the neighboring chieftain to be his bride. So the idea that we have to protect children from sexuality, I think, is misguided. I think we need comprehensive sex education in the schools. I think we need better public awareness about actual abuse taking place by actual people. Certainly, most children are abused by family members that have nothing to do with the internet. These are people who have proximity to the child and, motive and opportunity. So for me, the bag is still open. I have a cousin, and he said he found online material when he was 9 years old, and now he's 20, and he's over porn. It doesn't do much for him anymore. He doesn't seek it out. He doesn't use it in his personal life. He has girlfriends, and I think if we can get past these shocking images and understand that the drive for sexual contact is hardwired into us as humans. We have 5 million years of evolution and 10,000 years of culture. Mm-hmm. And so we have, 20 years of the internet? 20 years of the internet is not going to override 5 million years of evolution. So how do we manage it? I think we manage it by information, education, and proper role modeling of the parents to the child.
Well, thank you. I would like to hear what other panelists say, because, what I hear all the time is that with portable internet devices, iPhones and Androids, that there's virtually no way